Hey guys, Gamerjlee here, and with me is my special guest who has taken this time out of his busy schedule to do a quick interview with me. This interview will be 30 to 45 minutes, but with me is DarksydePhil. How are you doing today, Phil?
I am doing well, coming off of playing a pretty refreshing game today, and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I was on stream. It's an amazing game. It actually was very entertaining.
Yeah, I didn't think, especially for a game that they're giving out for free, I was quite pleased. I actually like this one much better than Contrast, which they gave out last month for free.
Right, right. And whenever I saw this back when it came onto the PC, it was really entertaining. I was like, I would just wish I had a PC that could run it. So, but maybe I'll get a PS4 sometime this year and maybe I'll dabble in it.
There you go.
So, you started back in 2008 when basically there was no one on YouTube doing gaming footage. There were really some gameplay footage, but there was no commentary, nothing to laugh about. It was just strict gameplay, no commentary. You were sort of an innovator.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, back then it was the Wild West. It was like YouTube had finally become mainstream. People were talking about it all the time. Oh, did you see this clip on YouTube? Did you see that clip on YouTube? But people hadn't honed in on what exactly would be entertaining content necessarily yet. And yeah, it was like I said publicly in my story, I was actually looking for a walkthrough of a game called Lost Odyssey. It was a very difficult JRPG, and I was stuck on a part. And the only video I could find of this part of the game on YouTube was a guy who had no commentary at all. So I was watching this boss fight, and I couldn't even figure out, like, well, I see what he's doing, but how did he get that technique with this particular character? Did he grind in a certain area? Like, what exactly, how is this working? It was very difficult to figure out what was happening because there was no commentary. And so when I decided to start doing videos, I said, I've got to, do commentary. It just makes sense to it makes it feel like you're in the room with someone who's playing a game, and I think that definitely adds a huge amount of entertainment because it's not just raw gameplay. It's not just about the game. It's about the personality of the commentator as well.
Right. And as we've all seen throughout the years, you've continued to entertain us. You've provided excellent commentary, which also teaches us about the game. And it's been, amazing so far throughout the years you've been doing this. This is now, 2008. So,
yeah, I believe it was 5 full years. So 2008 to 2009, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, and 12 to 13. Yeah, as of fall of last year, it was 5 straight years that I've been doing this, partially for the first couple of years as a hobby, and then full time ever since early 2011.
Yeah, and when I discovered you, it was by mishap because I just picked up Resident Evil 5, and it was way past when the game came out. And I was looking up Resident Evil 5 co-op, and your video was the first video to pop up. I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And it was the Lost in Nightmares DLC.
Yes.
With you and John Rambo, and it was hilarious. And I was just like, this is amazing, and I just continued to watch from there on. So, it was
actually, I actually still remember that playthrough because the Resident Evil 5 playthrough and then subsequently the first DLC I was using a different camera. I was actually had
HD.
converted. Yeah, exactly. I converted from the older standard definition camera that was crooked with the TV. It wasn't even widescreen to the HD camera. And I think really that was probably when my video started to get noticed a little bit more because it was like, wow, it's high quality, it's high definition, and it's got great commentary all at once.
Right, right. And then as you continue to go on, 2010, a lot of people have sort of agreed upon this. That was your best year on YouTube.
Well, I guess when you say best, it all depends on your frame of reference.
Right.
In regards to the quality of games that came out that year, the quality of games that I played and did full playthroughs of, the quality of the co-op that I did that year with John Rambo, in particular, near the end of the year, we did that Dead Rising 2 playthrough right after I'd gotten laid off. That was the very first thing that we decided to do. I can definitely see why people who have been viewers over a long period of time would say that was the best year. I mean, Heavy Rain, obviously, everyone still kind of collectively agrees that's my best playthrough of all time. And it's tough because I obviously with the new stuff that I put out, I try to match what I did in the past, and it's hard a lot of the times when you don't have material to work with that's not as good as that. I really feel that year, some of the games were the perfect combination of gameplay, but also things for me to joke about and do commentary on and make fun of, and it really turned into, a really great product overall. So
right, because I'd never been interested in Mass Effect, and I was like, okay, what's Phil doing today? Mass Effect playthrough, saying in just the beginning ran that first Mass Effect playthrough where you were going off about Conan O'Brien and Domino's Pizza being shit. I was like, okay, this is going to be hilarious. So, but no, it was an amazing year. I watched all of the playthroughs, mainstream, Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, Heavy Rain, and just had a blast. But 2010 was a sort of a good year and a rough year with you losing your job at that time.
Right.
And then getting picked up by Machinima. So,
right.
But as of recently, you've made some major changes by going to direct capture, doing live streaming. How has that really affected views and people's opinion of it?
Well, that's a good question. It really depends. Again, it depends on your viewpoint. If you're someone who's only been watching my content to be entertained since day one, like that was your thing. You're not here for a specific quality of video. You're not here because I do it a certain way. It's because you're entertained by the commentary and the gameplay. I don't think those people really have been affected at all by the fact that I went from a camera to, direct capture or live streaming. I think those people get it. It's the same content. It's just higher quality video, and if you want to watch it live, you can. But there's always going to be people that they're afraid of change, and I'll be honest, yes, that's a huge change. That's going to a completely different medium. It's a different method that I do my work. And so I can understand why some people were like, it doesn't sound the same, it doesn't look the same. I don't like that he does live streams, because if I can't be there for the live stream, then it's like I'm not there for the live product. And his upload schedule is different now. He's not uploading 40 videos a day. He's only doing maybe a dozen, maybe 20 maximum if there's 2 really popular games out. And I can understand that, but I really think at this point, now that we're in 2014, that anyone who was going to be, oh, screw it, I'm not going to watch his content, they're gone at this point. And I've, in the past year, seen record growth in regards to subscriptions, in regards to definitely the Twitch TV channel. That Twitch TV channel getting so many views and so many follows within not even a year. I haven't even been streaming for a year yet. And so how many people can really say that they've gotten over, 2 million views, over 18,000 followers within a year? So what that's telling me is that there always was an audience there, and I was missing out by not taking advantage of that medium, that live streaming medium. So it's been tough. I'll be honest. It's been tough. There's been technical issues. There's been times when I can't get stuff to work. Everyone knows right now what's going on with my internet, how it's conking out on a regular basis, and we can't seem to get it to consistently work. Those things obviously can kill a business. But besides those things, I would not go back and change what I did. I think I made the right choice changing over to direct capture and live streaming. I've got a great new fan base on Twitch. I've got a dedicated fan base on YouTube. And I'm pushing ahead strong. And it looks like, because of the fact that I did that, I future-proofed myself. Meaning it's not like other people are doing better quality video than me and better quality anything. We're all kind of on the same level. Now it's, do you want to see the guy who's playing this game, or do you want to see the guys who has the better commentary? And it's a little bit more even, versus previously it was like, well, this is the guy, he does great commentary, but he's using a low quality camera. Well, I want to see the game, look better, so I'm going to watch someone else's playthrough. And I think that kind of mentality has now gone.
Right. And I was there on the first night when you first started live streaming. And yes, there were some issues, but you and John Rambo just started working them out, day after day, and you sat down at nights and worked on it. One of the funniest moments I've had, and it was the first time you live streamed, was when you were getting ready for SGC, and I wrote in the chat, I'm coming for you at SGC, Phil. And John Rand was like, why is this guy so pissed off at you? And you said, probably because I did something to his mom. I was like, God damn it, John, you prick. So I was just laughing because I was like, that's so. But I've also noticed the community has grown, and there's been a lot of great dedicated fans, especially on the Twitch channel and on the kingofhate.com, which we will mention in a little bit.
Sure.
But on the Twitch channel, there's a lot of great mods, including Chewbacca, Hazard, a lot of great fans, CD2113, and just some really great people that made me feel welcomed whenever I first started coming to the stream more often. And that's honestly what a lot of people are looking for, is some place where they feel welcomed and they're going to be entertained.
Right. And, I hate to say it, but how disappointing is it with the changes that YouTube has undergone in the past year? Just completely gutting the website, making it look worse. I remember there used to be people who on channel comments, I'm not even talking video comments, I'm talking, there used to be a section on my channel for comments on the channel page that people used to interact with each other. They got rid of that. Now they've changed comments over to Google+. So now it's like, it's such a chore to even interact on YouTube videos. I'm glad that there's a medium where people who like my content can interact with each other, talk with each other, react to the videos live in the same place. And I really do feel that it was a massive asset moving over. Not saying that everything I do is Twitch oriented, but moving over my gameplay and my vlogs and all that to Twitch, because it really, to me, felt like it reinvigorated the community. People who were feeling like YouTube's falling apart, this sucks, there's no DSP community anymore. Now it feels like it's coming back because of Twitch.
Right. And speaking of YouTube, here's a question that I wanted to personally ask you. You've been doing this now for a long time, and there are a lot of people that now are wanting to begin doing this because it's become more mainstream to do live streaming, to do direct capture. And there's a lot of problems with YouTube, including the copyright claims, the Google Plus bullshit that we have to deal with on a daily basis. What would your advice be to someone who just wants to begin doing YouTube?
I guess it really depends on how you're attacking it. If you are the kind of person who loves video games and you want to start making video game related content on YouTube just for the fun of it, then you can pretty much go ahead and just start a channel and start uploading your own content. Unfortunately, due to the restrictions that YouTube is now instituting as of December, and from what I'm to understand, within a week or two, this is supposed to affect everyone else on YouTube in regards to this new, I don't even know exactly what they're going to call it. I think it's going to be like a content review system where they're going to randomly select new videos that people upload, and some of them will be stuck in this review state for multiple days until someone from YouTube apparently actually eyeballs the video and says, okay, there's no copyrighted content in it, I approve it. Then the video will finally go live on YouTube. So if you're just someone starting out, I hate to say it, but you may find yourself up against these kinds of challenges. You're trying to upload a playthrough of a popular game or maybe one of your favorite games, and after 2 days you find that half the videos got content ID matched. And you're like, now what do I do? Because half the videos the audio was muted because they said there was copyrighted music in it. It's a debacle right now. And a lot of people are kind of panicking because of what's going on YouTube, and it seems like unless you happen to find yourself signed with a major partnership company and they have named your channel as a managed channel, which means that basically you kind of have all the privileges that you used to have before they made these changes, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of trouble. Especially, it's going to be the little guy. It's going to be the little guy who hasn't uploaded anything yet. He just wants to get started. How are you going to get noticed or have anyone pay attention to your content if half of your content is stuck in a content review or gets content ID matched and no one can see it or hear it? So it's definitely going to be tough. But all that being said, if you're the kind of person that you do it for fun, you're not worried about, oh no, I can't make ad revenue on my videos. Oh no, So what if it gets, flagged for 2 days. Well, when it goes live, and hopefully people will notice it. That's how I started on YouTube. When I started in 2008, I didn't give a crap. I didn't even know that you could even put ads on videos. I didn't even know that until late 2010. So for me, it was like, I'm just going to play a game. I'm going to have fun with it. And if people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. It's no skin off my back because I'm playing the game anyway. All I'm doing is setting up a camera and pressing a button to record. So it's really no extra effort on my part. And lo and behold, it caught on. People liked the fact that when I played games, I did natural commentary and I had fun with it. That was the thing. Even when I was raging, and this is what a lot of people don't seem to understand, a lot of the times I play a game and I rage at it, I'm still having fun. If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to continue to play that game. And there have been many games, especially in 2013, where I just started playing it. I was like, this is just no good. A game like Killer is Dead, where I'm not having fun. I'm not going to continue playing this game. And that should be your goal. If you're having fun doing what you're doing, it won't matter if one person watches your video or 1 million people watch your video. At least you're able to share your fun experience with someone else, and that's really ultimately where you're going to find your source of success.
Right. And you gave me that advice back at Screwtack Gaming Convention this past year. And honestly, that really helped me out and, find what I wanted to do, because I got a lot of crap whenever I did my playthrough of Halo 3. They said to me, the game is old. Why are you playing this? I said, because it's a game I like. So what's your problem? But honestly, there are a lot of problems with getting started on YouTube. But, there's ways to get around it. Like the whole copyright claims. I had an audio copyright claim, and I was following your copyright claim updates. And the audio bug fix that you suggested that you got from one of your viewers, I can't quite remember the name in my head at the moment, but where you go into the audio settings and you can get rid of the music that is copyright ID claimed.
Right.
And that is a very helpful thing. And not a lot of YouTubers will talk about that kind of stuff. They sort of either keep it to themselves or they just don't mention it whatsoever. But this coming year is 2014, and you've announced a lot of new changes, including that you are moving from Connecticut this year, hopefully.
Yes, definitely.
And
in fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I am currently this week in talks with a couple realtors who have branch offices out at these locations that I'm looking at to potentially move. And I've already got the ball rolling. I'm actually tonight, I got to type up another email. They asked me some questions. I got to answer their questions and, really get the ball rolling this year, because at this point, it's too expensive where I live. As everyone knows at this point, the internet is garbage and no one can seem to fix it for me. I am going to make the same amount of money no matter where I live. So it makes absolutely no sense for me to stay in a location where I'm paying higher prices and higher taxes when I could move to a place where I'm making the same amount of money, but it actually is worth more because I'm not getting taxed out of the butt, and I can get a bigger place where I can do better filming, multiple rooms, different locations, a backyard maybe, who knows? How awesome would it be if I had all new locations and I could do all kinds of new series because I have this resource? And I put down my foot. As soon as I found out that I wasn't going to have any kind of contract renegotiation in 2014, I said, I got to do it. That's it. It's done. I put my foot down, and I already got the ball rolling on the process.
Right. And this is your second year being with Leanna, and
yes,
you've been considering moving in together. So that is great news that you are going to be possibly moving this year. And it's just more positivity as we continue on throughout the community. And a lot of us are excited for you. I'm excited for you. Hopefully everything goes smoothly.
Well, whenever it comes to moving or house hunting, there's always going to be some bumps in the road. It's never going to be, 100% smooth sailing, but I've been through it once before. However, I've never done a major move like I'm planning to do. I'm not just going to move like one state over. I'm planning to make a huge move, in some cases potentially across the country. So we'll see how it goes, but thank you for the well wishes. I definitely need as many of those as possible, because I know there's going to be some difficulties along the process somewhere.
Now, with that move, how is co-op with John going to work? Because I think I missed that when you explained how that would work with John.
Well, it's quite simple. John, first of all, and I don't know if people have noticed this recently, but since the past several months, there's actually been less co-op with John already. And that's because, he jumped into a new job, and his new job is time consuming. A lot of the times they actually have him doing work on a Saturday, which used to be our traditional co-op day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times what he ends up doing, if you can believe it, gets up super early in the morning, goes and does work for like 4 or 5 hours, then drives an hour and a half over here to do co-op. So those days already are becoming grueling for him. And, it's a good run while it lasted, being able to, that he was, an hour and a half away, that at any moment's notice, if we wanted to do co-op, he could drive here and we could do it in person. But, we grow as people and things change. And the constant co-op with John Rambo is going to be something that it's not going to happen on a frequent basis or as frequently as it used to. By no means am I saying it's going away. Basically what I'm saying is the couch co-op aspect of it, him sitting next to me, probably isn't going to happen. What we may do is find ways to do things over the internet, whether it's over Xbox Live, over PlayStation Network, games that have that kind of capability, or possibly even doing them through live stream, even though I know live stream is slightly delayed, maybe via Skype and different stuff like that. Like the way I see it is this: smart guys will not be affected at all. Smart guys could happen as it happens now, only we do it via Skype through, our streaming software or whatever. That won't be affected at all. It's really going to be the gameplay. And, it's unfortunate because already we've had, if you remember, late last year, Dead Rising 3, which I think a lot of people wanted us to do. I mean, I still get requests. I just did my Game of the Year awards and named Dead Rising 3 as one of my top 10 favorite games of the year. I got several comments on the video saying, well, we really wish you would have done it co-op. I'm like, well, were you going to spend $500 to buy John Rambo an Xbox One? Because unlike me, it's not his job. So for him, he can't write it off his taxes. He doesn't have that kind of money just laying around. And he even told me if he was going to get one of the consoles, he was going to get the PS4 anyway. He wasn't going to get the Xbox One. So there's already, unfortunately, some missed opportunities for co-op that are happening, even though I haven't even moved yet. So really what it's going to come down to is John and I will try to coordinate. We'll definitely try to continue on with things like Smart Guys when we can. For games that have online co-op over the internet. So perfect example, Dead Space 3 last year wouldn't have been affected at all. We would have still been able to do it because that's co-op over the internet. That kind of stuff is still going to happen. But as for every week him being able to come here and do the couch co-op, unfortunately, that was already going away anyway due to his new job. And we're just going to have to figure out how to coordinate it. Now, all that being said, keep in mind that a moving process isn't an overnight thing. We've got several months. In fact, even if everything went swimmingly, I'm not even planning on going to look at potential places until, say, May or June because of the weather. I don't want to start flying across the country in the middle of the winter and then get stuck somewhere in a blizzard or, all the flights get delayed. So not even until spring will I start to look at potential living locations. So therefore, you've got at least half a year, if not more, where we're guaranteed we're going to at least try to keep doing the co-op the way we're doing, around his work schedule. So it is going to change, but it's changing because our lives are changing for the better. John's got a new, better job. I'm moving on to a newer, better place. Not to say that we'll never see each other. I mean, there's always the potential. Let's say I move to somewhere like Texas or near Seattle or something like that, there's conventions and stuff at these places. And there's potential that maybe OJ and his girlfriend and John and, certain people, we can meet up at conventions and stuff and still hang out and have fun and do that kind of stuff. It's just obviously not going to be as frequent as it used to be. So it is going to change, but, things change and things change for the better. And that's pretty much how we're going to have to tackle it when we get to it.
Right. And I've noticed this as well, that couch co-op is starting to go away even in games by themselves. It's more online oriented and it's pushing more towards where you have to play online. And that was frustrating with me and my dad. We were here during Christmas and he wanted to play the new Halo Spartan Assault. Fortunately, you need 2 Xbox Ones to do it. So unfortunately, he did not get an Xbox One for Christmas. So
yeah, I've noticed. You're absolutely right. I have noticed over this past, I say it's been about a 2-year shift where a lot of games didn't even have online co-op. It was all local co-op, and it's completely flipped on its head. Now it's everything requires 2 consoles, and it has to be through the internet. And it's sad because I remember the days when I had my Super NES or my Genesis or my NES, and I would invite my friends locally over from the neighborhood, and we'd be there playing 2-3 player games, you know, right there on the floor, on the couch, in my bedroom, whatever. And it was a lot of fun. And it's like, because it's the digital age, we're losing that. We're losing that personal connection to gaming with people. It's becoming a lot more impersonal now over the internet. I do honestly believe that there's something lost there. It's kind of similar for me when I grew up in video arcades playing fighting games. You were there in person with the person who you were challenging or facing, versus now everything's online. It's completely impersonal. You got people rage quitting left and right. It's a completely different experience.
True that. And, you know, you've made some amazing series, including Hate Live, which you were talking about the arcade. And that's one thing that I lost my mind listening to, was your stories about some of the people you used to hang out with in the arcade. I showed my mom this when I was at work, and she was just laughing. And I've never seen my mom laugh that hard. So, but Smart Guys is... the way I figure it is, for me to be entertained by someone, I need to relate to them, and I honestly do relate to. I enjoy wrestling, and Smart Guys is one of my favorite series that you do with John Rambo. It's entertaining, it's informative, and it really shows more about what WWE and TNA are doing wrong, what they could improve on, and some of the things that we would like to know about the product.
Right. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and that's ideally what we wanted to do with the show. We didn't just want it to be a show where we sit down, we review the results, all right, see you next week. Because there are a lot of people who do that, and there's also a lot of people who treat the product as if it's like real. I've seen some of these people, oh my God, CM Punk, he's God and all this. And it's like, you got to know what behind the scenes, what's really going on with these companies. And John and I have been fans of pro wrestling for so long that we've seen both sides. I mean, I grew up the biggest fan of Hulk Hogan. I mean, I loved the guy. I saw him on TV, say your prayers, take your vitamins. I thought, and my dad, you know, my dad loved it too, because he's like, my dad kind of laughed at him rather than with him. I was, you know, so loving this guy. And of course, then later on it comes out he's on steroids. He's a money grubbing guy. He doesn't ever want to lose a match. Behind the scenes, no one likes him. He doesn't really work well with Vince. He doesn't work well with anyone. So seeing both sides of the business, that's kind of what we want to bring forth with Smart Guys. Is when you're watching this show and you see one of the craziest things you've ever seen in your life, you're like, why did this guy dress, why did a 7-foot giant dress in a diaper for this week's show? And we're like, well, that's because Vince thinks it's funny. Take a look at his track record, having a woman give birth to a hand and having a giant black man be called sexual chocolate. This is kind of humor. So when we talk about that stuff, I think it gives you kind of an inside look into the industry and the minds behind what goes on in pro wrestling. And that's really what we want to bring to the table. We don't just want to give boring, blasé commentary on what happened, and we don't want to be total marking out fanboys for stuff. We want to kind of be the adults behind it and being honest about it, because ultimately we enjoy wrestling. We do. If we didn't enjoy it, we would never watch it. But sometimes you got to say, gee, why is the industry right now in a slump? Why can't they get out of this slump? And sometimes you got to call a spade, and that's what we try to do with Smart Guys.
Yeah, and it came out today, I believe it was today, that Caitlyn just got released from WWE. So
wow.
Yeah, great. Another great wrestler. She was very talented, and it's disappointing because the Divas division is gone. There's no one really besides AJ Lee and Caitlyn, which were basically their top two.
Right. And it's funny because who's the Divas champion right now? Well, if you've been watching WWE television for the past month, you wouldn't even know, because AJ hasn't even been on TV. All they do is have the Divas bouncing around. First it's the Thanksgiving Diva episode. Oh, it's the Christmas Diva episode. And every episode they're out there half naked, because that's what Vince likes. Vince doesn't want legitimate female wrestlers. He doesn't think that sells. He wants half naked women so that these horny teenagers will tune in. He thinks that's what's going to get him ratings, when in reality it hasn't gotten him additional ratings since the year 1997.
Right. whenever the Attitude Era was.
Exactly.
And that's where I grew up, and some of the matches that I used to enjoy were the crazy zany matches, like the 6-man Hell in the Cell match with Rikishi.
Oh yeah,
and
I remember that one.
Yeah, and I know that you disagree with this one, but my favorite era of the Undertaker, this is the one I grew up with, but the American Badass Undertaker. That's the one I grew up with. So that's the one sort of I've liked. But, you know, each person has their own opinion on which do you think is better. And, you know, honestly, I feel like they're forcing the poor guy to wrestle now. And it's like, he was doing good. He got to 20-0, and he should have just ended it there. But now they're just pushing him.
Yeah. You know, you're absolutely right, and that's how Vince is. He sees that The Undertaker is a major draw every year. He knows that, you know, the streak match is going to get people to buy the pay-per-view, regardless of the fact if The Undertaker is getting older, can't move as much, really doesn't even wrestle outside of WrestleMania anymore, with the exception of this year where he actually did like 1 or 2 other matches.
That I was a surprise.
Well, I think they wanted to build something up. I don't know if they're ever going to go anywhere with it, with the Shield versus the Taker, but I think they wanted to give the Shield a push, and they knew the Taker wasn't going to wrestle much more. So they said, just what the hell, toss him in the match, and you know, let him get squashed, and it'll make the Shield look really strong for the rest of the year. And I mean, the Shield had a great year, but did you really need to have Undertaker wrestle those matches? I don't know. But no, you're absolutely right. You know, 20-0, I really think that would have been the best situation for Undertaker. He would have went out on top. But let's face it, also, money talks. And I'm sure they give him quite the pretty paycheck every year to come back and have his one match. And being that he's not really doing much else, Undertaker, I don't know if you actually know this, Undertaker is one of the very few wrestlers that does not do appearances. You won't go to a wrestling con and find Undertaker sitting at a table signing glossies and charging $100 for a photograph. It's always been part of the mystique of the Undertaker, you know, the character, the Phenom, that he's like a mystical being, so you never really get to meet the real Undertaker. The exception was those years when he was the American Badass character, but since then he's gone back kind of to that persona and that mystique. So, hey, it is what it is. I think he's probably going to end up wrestling several more years until something happens, there's no more in the tank, or he gets injured, and then they'll finally, you know, end it. I don't know how they're going to end it legitimately at this point, because he's beating absolutely everyone. They'll probably have Cena beat him.
Right, and then that's going to make me upset, because I hate Cena. My dad totally loves Cena. He loves the whole thing, and it's just frustrating with what they're doing now with the whole, one champion, 2 belts, you know. And I guarantee you, I think I know what's going to happen at this next pay-per-view. I have an idea in my head, and I don't want to say anything because I feel like people are going to think I'm spoiling it, because when it happens, they're going to give me so much crap, so.
Listen, all you need to know is that WWE does the same shit every year. So it's this simple. At WrestleMania, John Cena will be the champion.
Right.
Period. It doesn't matter how it happens, how it gets there. John Cena will be the champion at WrestleMania before the night ends.
Right. And I'm looking forward to the Royal Rumble is the one pay-per-view I look forward to every year, because to me it's one of the most entertaining with TLC and such. But moving on from that, this year I feel like gaming has evolved, and as we've seen with the new consoles, the Xbox One, the PS4, the graphics are amazing, and it's really being, you know, just pushed to its limits. What do you think the next step for gaming really is?
It's a great question, and it depends, because really gaming is diverging right now. What you've got right now going on with gaming is that you've got, in one direction, you've got video games pushing towards being works of art. Huge cinematic masterpieces, great arcing stories, motion capture with real actors, amazing voice acting, to the point where it looks like you're basically in an interactive movie. The other completely opposite direction is that games are becoming incredibly dumbed down, incredibly simple, to the point where you don't even need controls. It's just a touch screen. You tap a screen to do it. And let's look at games like Angry Birds. Look at these simplified games that are being humongous. They're huge money makers, but is that really serious gaming? So what I'm predicting here is that the future of gaming, you're going to have a divergent market. You're going to have the people who want to play these little crappy, quick tap, tap, tap games that are free to play until you spend, $1 every 5 minutes to keep playing them. And next thing you know, you spent $400 on the game because you're addicted to it. You're going to have all those moving on with the mobile devices and on iPads, tablets, and all that. And it's going to be huge. I really feel that gaming is going to divide, and they're going to have to come up with a name, whether it's hardcore gamer versus casual gamer, or I don't know what it's going to be, but you're going to see two completely separate directions for gaming. Now, as for consoles are unique because you're going to have the hardcore games, the ones that are really trying to be works of art, mixed in with these other games that are maybe more indie focused. These games that really don't have a huge budget. They didn't need to have, months of advertising and $1 million production budget. And these games, I've played a few of them in the past year, they're not bad. So I think because the way the consoles are working, because the way the technology is advancing so fast and digital distribution is becoming so common, that you're going to have a big push towards these games being amazing, like super overproduced masterpieces, and then you're going to have a group of games that are just for fun. I don't care if the game has a huge arcing story and the best graphics ever. The game's just fun as hell. And I'm seeing a lot more of that with these indie titles and things that are coming out. What's the next step? Logically for consoles, I don't know, because I'll be honest, by the end of the last gen, when we were talking games like The Last of Us, Beyond Two Souls, I thought that looks photorealistic to me. So how you're saying you're going to make it even more realistic, more pixels, I guess. They got the new 4K TVs coming out,
right?
And people are like, "Oh, I got to get that." Like, why? Like, there's nothing that renders in that, you idiot. You'll be sitting there watching, 720p television like everyone else. But I don't know. I don't know what the next step will be. I'm just hoping it's not more gimmicks like motion and all this other shit. Exactly. I'd rather have it be a genuine advancement somehow with the games and the gameplay and the production of the game, rather than, oh, here's a quick gimmick to make the game a little different. Right.
And what's funny to me is I watch a lot of people that do vlogs and such, and one of the person I've been watching is Boogie2988, and he just had a rant video as his character Francis, where he was showing Angry Birds Go. And there is there are cars in that game that you have to pay $50 fucking for. $50 for a virtual car.
And people will do it. That's the saddest part, is that people will do it.
Right.
It becomes so addictive that those games are addictive. And in fact, I have to say that a lot of them are kind of like almost like gambling in a way.
Yeah, it's like an addiction.
Those games, like for example, there's a lot of those games, they're like collectible card games or whatever,
right,
where the game's free to play. But as you play, you get addicted because you're like, oh, if I keep playing, I'll win a battle, I get more cards. Oh, but guess what? You find out you can't get the best cards in the game unless you start spending some money, and that's just how it starts. All right, so if I spend $1, I have a chance to get a great card, but I may get a crappy card. So you put down your first $1. Oh, didn't get the good card. Oh, well, that's okay. It's only $1. I can spend another $1. And that's when it starts, that slippery slope, where you just start getting so addicted to something that you will keep plunking down your money over to the point where $50 for a car, big deal. I already spent $250 on this game. That's nothing. You put down your $50. And it's crazy. It's a crazy, addictive business model. It's dangerous. And, it's ridiculous that those kind of games are making the money that they are when you've got people putting in thousands of hours of effort and time for amazing, groundbreaking graphics and really trying to present a cinematic masterpiece for you, and then the guy who made a game of a cartoon bird shooting at pigs is like a multi-millionaire living on some fucking tropical island.
Right. And you were talking about the indie games that have come out over the past years. Don't Starve, having a blast watching the stream earlier today. Stanley Parable, still amazingly good to watch, funny as hell. And that's the thing, is games have to be entertaining and fun before they, I would prefer a game that's fun and keeps me entertained than a game that's beautiful. So basically, look at Rise. It was beautiful, but it wasn't fun.
True. Very true. It goes both ways. You're absolutely right. It can go both ways. It could be the game's so pretty, but there's no substance to it. Or it could be, the game's substance really isn't great gameplay. It's just addicting gameplay or repetitive gameplay, and people get hooked on it. And that's how all these mobile games have basically moved towards.
Right. and it's a crazy market, and we're just gonna have to sit back and see where it goes, and just make the right choices when you're spending your money, because it's a bad economy. And someone who says, oh well, I like this game that's a mobile game, but there's a new game coming out, do I want to spend $50 on one cart, or do I want to spend $50 to $60 for a full retail game? More of a gamble, though.
And that is ultimately how things get determined in any business industry. It's how the dollar is spent. So, I say it all the time, and I say it not only for what you buy, but what you watch on YouTube, on Twitch. You have to understand, if you're going to make something insanely popular, make sure you're making it popular because it's entertaining you, not because you're doing it because it's what's popular. How many kids are running out right now and they're buying Angry Birds on their phone, they're playing Minecraft on their computer just because it's popular on YouTube versus because they actually like it? And that's what you really have to say. What's more bang for your buck? You're going to spend $60 for a retail game that may last you 12 hours, or you're going to spend $50 on a cart for Angry Birds that you'll play for 5 minutes till you want the next cart for $50.
Right. And, I've heard you say this before, you like to watch smart television when you sit down and you relax and you enjoy yourself, having a drink, relaxing. And, whenever I'm watching YouTube, that's what I want. I want to find the, intelligent people that know what's going on in the industry. You're one of the people that I sit down and I listen to your vlogs and learn from what you're saying, and there are other people that are really great speakers. And honestly, you're one of the people that has basically inspired me to do YouTube and has made a big impact on my, life, because whenever I first found you, I was depressed. I had depression, and just sitting down and watching one of your videos, watching one of your playthroughs just made my day so much better, and it really improved my life.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I get that all the time from people saying, first of all, that they come to me and trust me because they know I'm a true independent. I'm not getting paid off by anyone to ever say anything. And so if you watch me say something in a vlog, it's from the heart. And it's either to the most of my knowledge, or it's because I really want to share something that I feel is important with my audience that I'm speaking to. I'm not, when I do things, when I make vlogs, when I do series, and even when I play games, even though I may be joking around, I'm not one of these people that's acting as a clown to get your view. I'm either legitimately trying to have fun, or I'm legitimately trying to be serious to get an important point across. And I hope that comes through to most of my viewers, that is, I'm not here to make a paycheck. Sure, that's a cool bonus of what I do, but do you really think that back in December, when everyone was flipping out about these content ID changes and all that stuff, I could have just sat back like a lot of other big YouTubers and I could have said, I'm not going to make any content until this becomes resolved? No, that's not me. I immediately dug into the issue. I started finding creative ways to help people. I tried to spread that information because ultimately I want people to succeed. I want to see other people be successful doing what I'm doing, especially people who are up and comers who are trying to make it work. And I think everyone deserves the kind of success that I've had. And it's not fair that YouTube is trying to beat down the common person now. So I'm going to step up and I'm going to keep putting out videos, and I'm going to give informative vlogs on how to get around the situation. I'm not just going to sit there and sit on my hands and say, oh, well, that's horrible. I can't make a buck doing this. Screw YouTube. I'm going to take my ball and go home. That's never been my attitude. I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to be, I do not think of myself any better than anyone else who watches my videos. And I hope that at least when I do stuff like my informative vlogs, that comes across. Because I get the feeling there's a lot of these YouTubers out there, oh, I got 1 million views. So fuck the idiots that watch my content. I only put it out to make money. And that's the wrong mentality to have. You have to love what you're doing, and you have to be genuine. You have to be honest, and you have to try to help people when you can. And I hope that comes across in my videos, and I hope that's the reason why I get so many messages of people saying, listen, I was down, or I was really looking for guidance, and I watched your stuff, and it really picked me back up, and it helped guide me to do what I'm doing, and thank you so much. I get those messages all the time, and that is what fuels me to keep doing what I'm doing. Even when there's an overwhelming amount of negativity around me, I don't let it. I try not to let it get to me in most cases because I just want to push ahead positively and continue to inspire those people and to motivate them to do good things.
Right. And that is a great message to anyone who's listening to this. Positivity is truly the best way to go about things, and thinking about the things that could go right than the things that could go wrong. And unless you take that risk and you try it, you're never going to know. And honestly, the community is great. There's really so many great people that follow you, who make people who just join the community feel welcomed, and positivity goes throughout the community, and it's because of you sharing it with all of us. But I wanted to thank you for sitting down and taking this time out of your schedule to do this interview, and just say thank you.
You're very welcome. And I guess the only thing I would want to say in conclusion is that there are great things coming. I know we talked about community. We talked about how Twitch really brought that back. Well, I'm currently in the process of purchasing the kingofhate.com, which is, it's always been a fan site owned by other people who were kind of absentee owners. So if something happened, I had no control to fix it quickly. I really had no access to the core files and stuff of the website. And not to say that I'm a web designer, I'm not. But, when a site is supposed to be all about me and my content and my community, it sucks that you don't have total creative control over it. So I'm currently in the process right now. I already have purchased the domain space. All I need to do is, again, talk to the owner. He's going to adjust all the stuff, move it over to my domain stuff, and move the domain, thekingofhate.com, to associate it with the new location. And I'm looking to have a major reinvigoration of the website this year, especially because of things such as the upcoming big PlayStation 4 giveaway I'll be doing, that I get the feeling is going to bring hundreds, if not thousands, of new members to the site for a chance to win it. And I think great things are in the future. I think that we had a year or two where it was really stagnant. Then last year, I flipped things on its head by going direct capture and Twitch. And now that the dust has settled from that, I think we're going to move forward very positively this year with a lot of great new improvements and things coming that anyone who's a fan of my content is going to enjoy.
Yes, and I'll be posting links to all of these things, including DSP Gaming, the King of Hate vlogs, the jeez, my throat's going crazy. The Twitch channel and all of that. I'm going to be covering all of that. There will be links below. If you're interested, please come onto the stream, say hello. We'll make you feel welcomed. You'll be able to see what Phil does here and impacts all of us. So I think that's about it. And any last things you want to cover before you go?
Nothing in particular. Like I said, the website is pretty much the biggest thing on my mind right now. And obviously this year pushing forward to move out of Connecticut. Obviously right now there's going to be a dry spell because there's really no new games coming out, but keep in mind that all the new stuff coming out this year, all the new console games, especially for the Xbox One and PS4, I'm covering them all. So definitely check it out if you want to. If you're not available to watch a live stream, which I understand a lot of people aren't, and that's why some people get upset when I say I'm going to live stream all my gameplay. It's always available on my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming, at any time on demand. So head on over there, check it out at your leisure. If it's the first time you're hearing of me, go just give it a look. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But maybe you will like it, and there's only about 25,000 videos for you to catch up on. So
yeah, very wide amount of content compared to most YouTubers. All right, guys. Well, that's about it. I would like to thank you all for joining us and listening to the interview, and I will see you guys next time. Gamerjlee signing out.